is Damien, and this is my vlog about my daughter Rocklyn. We have another YouTube channel. It's called Farm Fam 2025, but I don't think I'll be shooting too many videos for that because of our current situation. Now, I want to start off by saying this vlog is not intended for viewing by children, and these are strictly my opinions. But if this helps another family, then it'll be worth it. My wife is currently down the street at Benioff Children's Hospital in the CICU with my daughter Rocklyn, who suffered a heart failure last night at Oakland Kaiser Permanente. Now I'll get into how we got to this point. I'm shooting this because my wife's over there and I don't have anybody to talk to right now, really. Not without unloading on someone, and everything that's happened is absolutely terrifying. Best way to get started is just stop talking. We're afraid for our daughter. She's fighting for her life right now. We're scared. We're upset. As you can tell by my eyes, I don't think I stopped crying. Now this has happened before. My daughter got some sort of influenza back in May of 2019, and long story short, fluid built up around her heart, the sac around her heart, and when they released it, she did have a cardiac arrest. Her heart did stop, but the medical teams at UCSF, Benioff Children's Hospital, they saved her. It was a 5-week process, but on Father's Day, June 16th, 2019, the best Father's Day present ever, I got my daughter back. She came home. She had a couple months of recovery at home, and then it was almost as if it had never happened. We still had to give her heart medication twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. But she started to come back strong and hard, opinionated, loving, amazing. Sorry. But now we're in that same situation. But we're upset with Kaiser Permanente Oakland, or actually Kaiser Permanente in general. Because her daughter had gone through this before, something similar. Of course, both parents, myself and my wife, have definitely a form of PTSD because we're worried anytime any of our kids start to sniffle or cough, not knowing what could happen. So we're always thinking about taking our kids to the doctor, the emergency room. It's almost a knee-jerk reaction, but that being said, the first time it happened to Rockland, we just thought it was a cold. We just thought it was maybe the flu, and it turns out it was. But for Rockland, the flu, influenza, can be killer. We're learning that the hard way. We voiced our opinion when we took her to the emergency room in Vacaville. At least my wife voiced her opinion. And we asked that she be transferred here to UCSF, Benioff Children's Hospital in Mission Bay. And long story short, they gave us the runaround saying it has to go through proper channels, which Mission Bay is not part of the Kaiser Permanente program. You can get referrals to come over here, but you can't just show up. It's not part of the system. So we had to go through the system, and now I think my daughter is paying for it. So from Vacaville, because she started to worsen while she was there, they transferred her to Oakland Kaiser Permanente on Broadway, downtown Oakland. And they started doing the normal test, running the panels. But the first thing we noticed, both my wife and I noticed, the nurse on duty seemed a little disheveled, seemed flustered when anybody asked her any questions. And hopefully I can get my wife on here talking about what she experienced. But my opinion is that woman didn't want to be at work, and she didn't want to be on shift, and she did not want to be in the room with my daughter. Rockland was in pain. Her legs were hurting. Her stomach was hurting. And I can't remember when her stomach started hurting, if it was earlier. And that's why we took her to Kaiser in Vacaville, the emergency room, or it was later. I'm just so tired. We haven't slept that much in the last, I think it's 72 hours now. Now, if you hear coughing in the background, that's my 7-year-old son, Drew, who also looked like he was going through the flu, had a cold. But we are 2 weeks into it, and he still has a pretty big cough. So we need to get him in to see a doctor, which we did before when they do that nasal swab. He doesn't like it because they have to dig up there pretty high, and it's pretty traumatic for a little guy. Although he's probably one of the strongest little 7-year-olds I've ever met, and I've met a lot of 7-year-olds. But getting back to Kaiser Oakland, the nurse, the doctors, my wife, of course, because Rockland got sick, and we experienced this before. Every time she gets sick, and especially if it has to do anything respiratory or actually anything, she wants to come here to Children's Hospital in Mission Bay. But once again, we're Kaiser, so we have to go through the proper channels. And getting over here, not that easy. Sorry, I gotta take a little break.